everyone. My name is Florence Opudele, and you are watching the Multicultural Community Hour. I come from a culture where community defines the people. Community is everything. My culture believes that a thriving community is the foundation for fulfilling life potential. We therefore place huge emphasis on making our community strong. The show is about our community and your community. In this episode, we have the pleasure of having Chuks Ojidoh with us. Chuks Ojidoh is an international trained nonprofit manager with over 2 decades of experience managing community-level initiatives that promote social inclusion and equity. He's currently the Director of Community Programs at the African Communities of Manitoba, Incorporated, where he coordinates programs that empower newcomers, low-income families, and young people to adapt to their new environment and have a sense of belonging. Welcome, Mr. Chuks, to our program.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. I'm so happy to have you here today, Mr. Chuks. And from what I've heard, it's been a long journey and prosperous time for African communities of Manitoba since you assumed the position of the director. So can you tell us more about the African communities of Manitoba and the programs that they run?
Thank you very much. The African Communities of Manitoba, Incorporated, popularly known as ACOMI, has been in existence for more than 25 years. It was formed to try to bring people of African descent together and to strengthen them and to make them feel part of the community. ACOMI is the umbrella organization of people of African descent. We have over 50 affiliates representing different Black-led organizations. And what we try to do is to build unity within the community and empower newcomers to settle in and fit into the environment. So that's what ACOMI has been doing over the past 2 decades or more.
Thank you very much. That seems like a lot of activities going on there. ACOMI is the umbrella organization for all people from the African descent. And I know I'm part of ACOMI and I have so much to do with them. So, Mr. Chuks, can you tell us more about the programs that you run at the community?
Yeah, we run different programs for different categories of people. We have programs for seniors. We have programs for young people. We have programs for newcomers. And currently we have 6 programs that we run. First is part of our cultural programming, where we try to promote African culture and heritage. A lot of people would know that ACOMI has been at Fukurama promoting African culture through the African Pavilion. We also do cultural programming in terms of dance dramas, exhibitions that promote African culture. Part of it is to get people of African descent to be proud of their own culture, while they also go out to appreciate other cultures. For us, that is part of adding to the diversity that we have in Manitoba. So in addition to the cultural programming, we have programs for seniors.
Okay.
This program is aimed at addressing isolation among seniors.
Okay.
What we do is to provide space for seniors to interact, to socialize, to go on excursions, and to be active in the community. We also provide opportunity for them to interact with young people as part of intergenerational communication, because it's key for the younger ones to learn from seniors who have wealth of experience, but at the same time, for the seniors themselves to also learn from young people who are very innovative and creative. So that's part of our seniors program. We have another program that tries to address financial issues. As newcomers come in, a lot of them need support to be able to plan. They need support to be able to protect themselves from online scams, and also to manage their finances. Also key to that financial literacy program is our free income tax program that we run. I'll have to state that right now that we have 2 programming locations in Winnipeg.
Wow.
One is downtown, Kennedy Street, and then the second one is at NASA, south of Winnipeg. And at our Kennedy location is where we run our free income tax program, which is currently going on. And every year we have over 1,000 people file their taxes for free. That's also to try to provide financial literacy to them as well, and also get newcomers to fit into the culture that we have here. And then one key component we have is the youth program. Young people are key to every society, and we appreciate that. And so we have a robust youth program. There are three elements. One is to mentor young people. And so we provide mentorship opportunities. We also provide job opportunities for young people during summer. And then we do a series of educational programs for young people to help them cope with growing up, and also the challenge of young people being in a new environment. So that's the youth program we run. Last year we ran a digital literacy class for young people, and we hope to continue to do that. So that's part of our youth programming that we do.
Wow, that seems like a lot. Viewers, this is really a lot of programs being run from ACOMI Inc., which is located at Kennedy. And here today we have with us again Mr. Chuks Ojidoh, the Director of Programs, talking to us about the programs that is being run out from ACOMI Incorporated. And again, Mr. Chuks, I just want to, as an African, from the programs that you've just listed, there is just so much going on. But I want to pick on, let me start by from the seniors, the elders. Yeah. I know this is a community, and we from the African community, we value our seniors and all that they bring to us. Tell me, do you see a gap between our seniors from the African descent and our young ones growing up here?
Yes, I think so. And that's the reason for our strategy of working with seniors. So our program is not just addressing seniors in isolation, but we link them up with young people because we've seen that there's a gap. There's a gap in terms of even the use of technology. Yeah. The young people are very active, and so we need to get seniors, parents to understand young people, And again, there's a lot of wisdom from our young people that we need to pass, from our seniors we need to pass to our young people.
Sorry if I might play the devil's advocate. Yeah. Is the young ones interested in learning of this wisdom or taking on this wisdom from our elderlies? Or do they find the elderlies, what's this word? Old-fashioned and obsolete. Do they find the wisdom as obsolete, or do they take it as something interesting that they should take on with them?
I think with young people, you need to create space and opportunity for learning to take place. And so that is something that has not really happened over the past few years. And so it's not that young people are not willing to learn. The opportunity and space for them to learn has not been there.
Have you found them receptive of those ideas?
Yes, we have.
Buffing the ideas?
No, we have, because I think that for young people, they live in the now. And living in the now gives them a sense that they know everything, and that what they are going through, their parents or grandparents probably didn't go through. But that's not true. And so when they get to learn that even their parents and grandparents went through the same experience. I'll give you an example. We, as part of our Black History Month program, we organized a board game, a traditional African board game. And young people and seniors. And it was fascinating that seniors could show that they played games. It's just that now it's digital.
So but what?
No, it wasn't about winning. It was about teaching and getting young people to appreciate that they have digital games now.
Yeah.
But their parents had, analog, that requires the same amount of thinking, the same amount. So it is to get them to start appreciating and valuing what they have. And then the other thing that is missing in terms of the gap is that the African community, like is an oral community. We tell histories by storytelling. And that is something that we've not connected young people to that act of storytelling. And so...
they read books.
Yes, they do read books, but you see, most of the African authentic history are not written. They are passed down from grandfather to grandmother to their children and that. So it is to start that storytelling. And the young people who are innovative can document that story, so that because part of your history is part of your culture if you don't know where you're coming from. Yeah. And it will also help young people to deal with issues of racism and being confident in who they are. You need to embrace your culture even as you seek to interact with other cultures. So I think that young people are open if we provide them a safe environment, a non-judgmental environment, an environment that also gives space for seniors to understand that young people also have wisdom they can learn with. So that's what we are trying to do.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chuks. I was really thrilled learning about the youth program as well as the seniors program because these are two generational gap or groups of people that seem not to blend when it comes to the African community. In our value system, the elders are truly valued in our community and in our countries where we come from. But when we come over here, there is so much for them to learn, and the children from the African descent are quick to grasp it. But then there becomes like a gap between the two. So trying to bring them together in areas that will affect all of us in the community is the task being placed before ACOMI. So thank you so much. But before I leave the youth, I must ask, how is the African communities dealing with the issue of LGBT? Because I know that in our communities, it's still an issue that people don't want to talk about, but do you see that as a challenge among the young people? Do you see that as a challenge among the elderly, trying to understand more? And is there any education around that or any information around that to help the elderly, move along?
Yeah, I think that culturally, there are certain things within the African community that they consider private.
Yes.
And so no matter the value system, our community and our elders respect people's rights to do what that's said. And so you find that predominantly it's not a major issue within the African community because especially the newcomers, they are battling with bigger issues that they focus on. There's economic issues that they are dealing with. There's issues within the family dynamics that change. And so a lot of them are, would I say they are not, it's not a priority in terms of addressing it within the community because, again, it's considered to be a private thing. What you do in our culture, they say what happens behind closed doors should remain there.
Yes.
And so we don't see any antagonism or any resistance.
Yeah.
What we see is the fact that our seniors feel that matters regarding sexual orientation and relationships are personal issues. So beyond that as well, and I think that is also something not unique to sexual orientation, even mental health issues.
Exactly. I was going to go on the mental health of the community, but I just want to add to that, that one of the value systems in the African community is blood is thicker than water.
Yeah.
Okay? So like when you said that there are more important issues to them than that, I think I'm right. I will agree with you because with the African community or with the people from the African descent, they value relationship more than anything. Yeah. So blood is thicker than water. Thank you so much, Mr. Chuks, for sharing, putting some light on that. Mr. Chuks, you talked about cultural programming, integration. Am I right? Integration of cultural. I was just wondering, how is the organization trying to educate the people from African descent about the knowledge of the land where we are? Knowing that African community values the land where they are, we value our land where we come from, we respect the land, we talk about the land all the time from the African perspective. But how have they been able to assimilate and also understand that the land, the Treaty 1 land where we are?
Yes, I think that part of our cultural programming, the first component is promoting African culture and heritage. That's just the first, because that serves like the foundation or the roots through which you can then branch out to embrace other cultures. And so that's part of our cultural programming, to get people of African descent to know their culture, to promote their culture and be proud of it, which is one component. The second component is to recognize that you're not an island in yourself, and that we need to promote understanding with other cultures, especially the indigenous community who are our hosts. And that is why we do a lot of cross-cultural programming. A lot of our programs have indigenous history as part of it. We attend a lot of the cultural performances by the indigenous community. And one good thing about that is, like you said, we have similarities, especially our respect for the land, our respect for nature, our respect for our understanding that nature is a gift for us to treasure. That's part of, and that cultural programming also promotes what unites us. And that when you attend cultural events, you see similarities, you see dance steps, you see, you have the powwow, you have the dressing, we have the masquerade. So you find that even though we might seem to be different cultures, we have a lot of similarities. And our dance is a reflection of our interaction with nature, our interaction with the environment. And that is one key thing that ACOMI does, a lot of cross-cultural programming. And cultural appreciation is part of understanding. A lot of the conflicts that happen within communities, lack of understanding. When you get to know yourselves, you get to appreciate other cultures, you find that some of the stereotypes that you have, some of the unconscious bias that you have, it's interaction, cultural interaction that would help to deal with that. So that's why ACOMI's cultural programming is not just promoting African culture, but as creating space again for our people to understand the indigenous culture. And there's a lot of programs we are planning this summer that will take members of the African communities to visit some of the indigenous communities, as well as have indigenous come and be part of the African community programming and all that. So it's something that we take seriously, and it's something that is crucial, especially for newcomers, that when they come into a new community, they need to understand the history of the land. They need to understand the culture of the land, so that it helps you to even understand and appreciate your own culture.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chuks. I was just going to say, when you were talking about newcomers, especially for newcomers, that I think a lot of us who have been here for long might think we know, but we don't actually. So I think the education should be for everyone.
Yes,
we need to keep learning, because we haven't learned a lot that we thought we did. And so I think it's wonderful that such cultural integration is happening. But still on that cultural integration, I also want to ask, have you noticed or experienced pushback from either the community itself or from the other communities that you are trying to work with?
Not at all. I think that's really been one of the successes of ACOMI, in the sense that we're able to connect with other communities respectfully. And I think that it begins with respecting your own culture, and then you can then not be afraid to embrace and respect other cultures. And I think that's very crucial. And I think that humanity, we want to engage. And what people are looking for are platforms that are safe, that are non-judgmental, that is open for people to come and learn without prejudice. And when you create that space, you're going to find people embrace it. And so I think our cultural programming has been one of the successes that we have, because they know that genuinely we are seeking to understand, because on a smaller level, people from the African community have some shared experiences, especially with colonialism, with slavery, so we have some historical background under which we better appreciate other cultures. And so I don't think there's been a pushback. I think what has been missing for too long is that most of the communities have tried to be on their own, but now I think there's a move towards more cross-cultural programming, and more ethno-cultural communities are coming together to organize joint programs within Winnipeg.
Are you getting the funding that you require for all this programming? I know it's not an area to go into, because every organization out there have the similar issues or challenges, but I'm just curious to
funding
know.
Is always a challenge. But we've not allowed that to deter what we are doing.
Great.
I think that what we've tried to do is to use what we have to try to do as much as we need to do. But I think that more resources need to be invested in cultural programming, because culture is really part of what drives individuals. And I think that There's been increased support, but I think we need to add more value to what you get from cultural programming, as well as other programming that are being done within the city. So more funding is required, but even without that, we can build goodwill and use that to do some programming.
Wow, thank you. Wow. Thank you so much, Mr. Chuks. Talking about the similarities between the African values, African community, and the indigenous community and indigenous values. There is just a lot. And I think one of the main ones that stand out to me today is the elders in the community, the way the African community values their elder and accord respect to them, and having come to Treaty 1 territory, we also engage with people that values their elders and treats them with respect. Yeah. I was just wondering whether, have you seen the future of, if you had to dream a dream around this idea of values that we in the African culture are struggling to keep alive, so that our children will not, do away with that idea. And then we are living in a land that also promotes that. Have you thought about how, as a community, we could work with this group, with the indigenous community, and say, here, can we find a way to expand and build on this so that the children, the future generation, will have something? It will be a value that will stick.
Yeah, I think that if I have a dream in terms of how that can be done, I would say that the first part of it is for even the seniors and the communities, both communities, not to lose faith in their culture and to value the cultures and values that you have.
Okay.
And that as you try to integrate, you don't need to lose your roots. And the other aspect of it is storytelling, is being in charge of the narrative. Like some of these programs, for instance, we need to get younger people to hear about their cultures, not just from history of colonialism, but what are the values that kept these communities strong for years? Without technology, how did these communities deal with healthcare? How did they deal with conflicts in the family? How did they resolve? So we had systems in place which, if we replicate them, it will help deal with some of the social issues that we have. So the first point is for both communities not to lose faith in these values. And the second is, how do you transmit these values to the younger generation? And if you don't have platforms like this, if you don't have connections between intergenerational platforms, and because, like I said, both cultures, our history is oral. So if we don't have these kind of platforms that allow us to educate the young people, then those values will also gradually diminish. Then the final point is that especially for immigrants and newcomers who are coming into the community and they want to become members of the community, they want to be citizens. There's this tendency for them to think that their own culture, to be assimilated into a new culture, you have to downplay, So I think that's where the education needs to take place, that you can be who you are, you can respect the values, and that's what you bring into the community. That's what the diversity that you have, your food, your language, your names, because these things have value.
Yeah.
So I think that the crucial thing really is for us to continue to provide platforms where the seniors and the young people will interact. It is through those interactions that these values can be passed.
Thank you so much. Again, viewers, we are talking to Mr. Chuks Ojidoh from the African Communities of Manitoba Incorporated here in Winnipeg. African Communities, short form ACOMI, is the umbrella organization for all the Africans or people with African descent living in Manitoba. So if you want to get in touch, please, Chuks, can you tell us how to get in touch with ACOMI?
Well, you can get in touch through our website, www.acomi.ca, or through our two program locations. We have one at 421 Kennedy, and then 301 Nassau Street South. So those locations are open, And virtually every activity that we run is free and open, not only to people of African descent. We run programs for all Manitobans, irrespective of where they are from.
Wow, thank you, Mr. Chuks. Viewers, you're watching New Multicultural channel, and it's a channel focusing on Community Hour. We are here today talking about our community and your community. If you have anything interesting about your community, please get in touch with You Multicultural. Today also, again, we are still talking to Mr. Chuks. And Mr. Chuks, I just want to talk about newcomers. Tell me the challenges you are facing, or rather, let's start with the successes. When a new family comes into Canada, the success stories.
Yes, I think that first, we need to understand how the newcomers come. There are different routes. Some come either as refugee claimants because they are fleeing some traumatic experiences. Some come as economic migrants, highly skilled, well-trained, and they are seeking a better life and they are seeking to contribute to the community. And I think the large proportion of the newcomers fall in the second category. These are highly trained, these are highly educated people, and they bring a lot to the community in different sectors. They are the ones providing services in healthcare, in transportation. So they are providing skills that has helped Manitoba. And I think that is part of why Manitoba is a wonderful place to be, because of the diversity that new immigrants bring. So, and I think also coming to a society where you can, if you work hard, you will prosper. And most immigrants are hard workers anyway. So that's why you can see the progress they are making. You can see because the community provides some platforms that allow them to contribute. But of course, there are challenges. But I think that the major success is the skill and the knowledge that immigrants and newcomers bring, and that's what is enriching Manitoba.
Thank you so much. And talking about the successes, I know a lot of professionals face the same, not just people from African descent, but every immigrant, that especially from the Ukrainian community that are coming in right now. A lot of them are professionals and have different skills. Have you seen the rate decreasing, the rate at which they finally settle down, decreasing or increasing?
Well, I think that, I know we're discussing successes, but I think that out of that success is a lot of challenges. The obstacles are diminishing in the sense that there are several programs, including some that are ACOMI runs, which helps professionals to try to get back to their profession, because that's how they will add value to the community. The process is not smooth. It's it takes time, and it takes, especially for newcomers who are coming from a completely different environment. They are coming with high standards, and then when they get here, they find that the transition is not at that level. A lot would have to, I was an immigrant myself, and I had to go through that experience of coming into a new community and having to start at a level that I was about 30 years ago. But it's to have faith and believe in yourself that you will be, So increasingly things are getting better, but the obstacles are still there. And that's why we run some programs for newcomers to try to get them to be certified, because the community is not profiting if they are not using the skills that brought them here. I recall a personal experience when I came in and I had to work somewhere. And as much as I was trying to get somewhere, they said, no, you start. And I worked for 2 weeks. And I said, look, you're not benefiting from the knowledge and the skills that I have. And I'm not benefiting because I'm just using less than 5% of what I can do. And so it's the same thing. You can be medical doctors who takes them a lot of time, and they are working as janitors, and they are working just to be able to. So I think that to make that transition and to get them to, I think that's a priority. That when people get into this community on the basis of that qualification, especially for economic migrants. Members who go through the provincial nominee program. It is on the basis of your qualification and experience and that you get to come. And then if you get here and you're not able to use that experience, the community is not benefiting and the individuals. And I think that is also something that is affecting the mental health of some of the newcomers.
I agree with you on that note because I remember when I came in here with my family some 24 years ago, and for the first 10 years, and I think this is true, but I could be wrong, that for you to adequately settle in Manitoba, it takes you over 10 years.
Yeah.
And I can tell you now that for me, that's a 10 years mark. It's changed to 5 years, maybe, or maybe I'm wrong, but I don't know whether you agree with me on that, but it may not be 10, it may have changed.
Yes, it also depends on individuals, for those who either came in as refugee claimants, sometimes the process is far longer.
Yeah.
For those who came in with little or no education, the process takes a bit longer because what I would say is that the opportunities that new immigrants have now, those of you who came earlier didn't have it.
No, we didn't.
But that does not mean that they are not facing, because they are actually also facing more challenges as well.
Yeah.
And so I think that the process of integration is shorter now, but at the same time, it's not as short as it should be, if we can provide support systems for them to settle in faster.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Again, you are watching New Multicultural Channel, and with me today is Mr. Chuks Ojidoh from ACOMI, African Communities of Manitoba Incorporated, in Manitoba. Mr. Chuks, again, I have so much to ask you about because I know you're a very busy person, but I think I will just keep going to the ones that I feel that our viewers will be most interested in. And I want to talk about families. Families are important in our community. As an African, we are so particular about how our family turns out. And in the family, we have several components of the family. We have the man, the woman, the children, we have the animals, we have everything that is involved in a family. Tell me, how do you think, or from your own perspective, and from the people that you meet every day, do you see African families disintegrating or integrating more into the system?
Yeah, I think this is one of the, I say it's a paradox, that you come to a community with a family trying to provide for your family, because family is crucial. It's the bedrock of every society.
Yeah.
If you have peaceful families, if you have families that are functioning well, then the larger community will function well. I think that the family is one of the places where we are noticing some challenges within the African community, especially newcomers. And it's as a result of the changing gender dynamics. Like I mentioned it, a lot of them come with expectations, and when they get here, you find that some of the roles have changed.
Roles.
Yes, some of the African cultures, you find that the patriarchal, patriarchal community where gender played a key role. But here, you find that those roles are switched, those power relations are switching, those relationships between parents and children is not as closely knit in terms of where you're coming from. So being able to navigate these changes, I think, is what is causing some challenges within families. You find that when newcomers come in, especially those who come in with high expectation, and they get here and they are not able to settle, you have a lot of tension, you have a lot of anxiety, you have a lot of, some of them even have some regrets of saying, is this what I planned for? And those tensions often lead to conflict within the home. The other thing is also the economic component. You find that because most newcomers are not working at the level at which they were working before. A lot of them have to do 2 jobs, 3 jobs to make, and they are hardly there for their children. They are hardly there to provide that guidance. So those are some of the things that is also causing. Sometimes the husband and the wife run different shifts that they hardly see each other. So that bond is gradually big. So these are some of the things that is provided.
If I can interrupt, is ACOMI doing anything to mitigate when the families arrive? Is there any program that ACOMI is putting out there to help these families understand their new country?
Yes, I think that's because some newcomer programs try to focus on economic empowerment, training to get jobs. That's good.
Yeah.
But again, to be able to get people to understand the changing environment is key. To even get families to understand this change in gender dynamics, that things would have to change. It's also part of the component of what our programs for newcomers. So it's not just to help them transit into systems and but to get them to understand that things would have to change, and also that the priorities should be on the family. As much as you need to provide for your family, if you're not there for this family, if you're not there for these kids, if you're not there for your children, who provide them the guidance that they require to be able to do that. So I think that, like we mentioned in terms of cultural appreciation, is appreciating our respect and our value for the family. That is your number one priority, to make sure that your family is peaceful, to make sure that there's no violence in your family, to make sure that even as much as you try to provide the financial support for your family, the emotional support, the psychological support is as crucial. So in terms of the content of what ACOMI provides for newcomers, it goes beyond trying to get them to get jobs, or trying to get them to recognize that the purpose of getting jobs, the purpose of being here, is to provide a loving environment for your family. Because the more we have healthy, peaceful families, the more the community will be peaceful.
And who is better able to provide these services other than the people that knows the people more?
Yeah.
So I'm really happy at all that ACOMI is doing, sincerely from the bottom of my heart, because when we first came, or when I came into this country, we didn't have anything like that, and it was so hard to find your fellow black family, and even the little one we had, the little ones that are at that time existing, we are bonded together. So you rely more on the friends you make to do some of this job that ACOMI has taken over now. So thank you so much, and thank you to ACOMI for all that they are doing for the people from the African descent. I want us to talk a little bit about the mental health of families, or rather of the people in the families, both the children and the women and the male in the homes. And I just want to ask, how is African community grappling with the idea that our mental health seems to deteriorate with our new environment? And I'm not asking you as a to give me stats or anything, but I know this is something that we from the African descent, we don't talk much about mental health. We either believe somebody is doing us, or some juju somewhere. Somebody have cast a spell on one of your child. That's why he's not doing well. And we believe it's something from the land.
Okay.
So is there any, because this is huge.
Yeah.
This is huge.
Yeah.
We believe it's either our sins or the sins of the forefathers that is affecting our children.
Yeah.
So I know a lot of the viewers might not understand, but it is huge.
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering whether ACOMI have seen this as an item or a subject that needs to be, bring out there, so that we see how we could work on it, and to educate families, educate the people as they are coming into Canada, and also the resources that are available. Because I know you guys cannot do everything, but the resources that are hugely available out there, how to connect people to these resources.
Yes, I think that, like you rightly said, mental health is a huge issue within every community and also within the African community. And ACOMI recognizes that. About 3 years ago, we partnered with some Caribbean organizations to develop a mental health toolkit for Black Canadians.
Oh, yeah. I heard about
so that document is there. And what it's supposed to do is to provide a platform to start discussing. But like you said, within the African community, mental health is considered to be a taboo, coming from where people we are coming from. So usually it's kept within the family, if you know, and also our understanding of what is mental health is also something that is not very clear. And so people think that when you say mental health, it means you already have a psychological problems. So they wait, they don't notice the red flags. And so part of why we developed that tool is to start having conversation about mental wellness, mental well-being.
Have you considered outreach program?
Yes.
Because it's not an issue they are willing to talk about.
Yes.
So maybe taking the program to them.
Just to even tell you, I ought to have been, I'm actually supposed to be in a meeting now discussing a program we are planning on mental health, this community program on mental health.
Okay.
And part of it is to start having conversations on mental health and mental wellness. And so that program should be up in next month.
Keep us informed when that discussion starts. I would like to be involved in that discussion.
But just to add to it that for newcomers, like I said, being in a new environment in itself causes some issues that it could be so lonely, it could be so isolated, it could be, and so being able to understand some of the red flags, some of the minor issues that need to be addressed is something we need to get people to know that. Depression can set in, anger can set in, and it will affect even the mental health of not only the individual, but so getting people to even understand it and discuss it is something that ACOMI is part of our community conversations. Let's even start talking about it.
Exactly.
And from talking about it, we can then start thinking about how, as a family, and then finally, because of loneliness and especially for newcomers. That's why ACOMI provides what we call community connections. So what it means is that when a newcomer comes in, especially from the African community, from different countries, we're able to link them up to our affiliates who are from those countries, because sometimes once you see something familiar, it allows you to settle in faster. And then from there you can address loneliness and you can start interacting and networking. So that's also part of addressing mental health, that you're able to provide connections for people to feel a sense of belonging, to also know this. I can see my sister, I can see someone who speaks my language, I can see someone, and that helps them. And a lot of people in this have gone through the experience, so you learn. So that community connection is a way. But the key thing about mental health is to create space to even start talking about it within. And that was why we developed that toolkit, and that's why we'll be having this series of community engagements on mental health within the African community.
Interesting. Thank you so much, Mr. Chuks.
Yeah.
So viewers, we are so happy and lucky to have Mr. Chuks Ojidoh with us today, who has enlightened us on the activities and programs that are run by African Communities of Manitoba Incorporated. And today we have heard about the programs and all the challenges that they are facing and all the successes. So if you want to get involved or get in touch with ACOMI, or you run a program that you think might connect to what they are doing, please check them out on their website. And also they have 2 locations serving the people, and you can also connect to them from either of the locations. So thank you so much, Mr. Chuks.
Thank you very much.
And finally, the final. Okay. If you are to make a wish, please tell me, having been with ACOMI and having seen all the challenges and successes and the people, if you are to make a wish for our community here in Manitoba, what will you say?
One wish would be for a stronger, united community.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yep. Thank you, viewers, for watching the show. Thank you for joining us at the Multicultural channel. The show is about community, and today we have Mr. Chuks, who was with us from the ACOMI and its African communities of Manitoba, to talk to us about the programs and projects that they are working on. You are watching You Multicultural, and thank you for being with us.